Hey everyone! I'm gonna break down What We Wish For intro. This is a two-part track. So we have What We Wish For intro, which is separate from What We Wish For. And it kind of serves as, well, the title says it's an intro. But it also as a more of a creative playground for me to test out some really weird ideas and to introduce the melody of What We Wish For at the end and then transition into the other track. I think it's a very interesting and fun concept. And because I loved the theme, the melody that I wrote for What We Wished For, I felt like it would be really cool to introduce that one track before as like a cool intersection. This is just my personal way of storytelling. Let's jump into it. Here we are in What We Wished For intro. This is a kind of crazy project. It's quite short, so let's just go over it in some detail so you can see the cool stuff. Let's just play the first part first. So that's the first part. It's a really cool kind of Radiohead-ish sound. It wasn't necessarily inspired by that. This was just a result of me experimenting with something, which is this guitar. So on its own, it sounds like this. Do you hear that? Very weird, very grainy. There's a delay. The delay that pitch shifts up, and it's kind of cool to hear that. So it goes up and up and up. It's a really weird like sound, but I thought it was very cool, and it's basically the main thing of this track before it introduces the melody for the What We Wished For. So then on top of that, I added in some simple pads and this string section thingy. The pad is just Arcus with harps, something I did a lot in Lost, but then it has its own vibe. As you can see, it's kind of dissonant. But this really helps making it more lush. And then this is to create some movement, also helping with the lushness. But it's all just one weird drone note, and it's very experimental for that thing. And then we have the these are, it says specific, but these are just strings that I bent with the pitch shifter, which I've done a lot. You've probably seen it. So just going up in the kilohertz pitch shifter, and then going down in it's in the kilohertz pitch shifter, so up and down, just to create some cool movement, some signature sound, to make it interesting because I'm repeating this. Then there's also this little thing, which is, I don't even know what it is. It's just a pad that I made for my guitar, also reversed. But I want to go a bit into detail about the whole reverse thing, because the reverse thing is something that I really love a lot, and it's a theme that I'm gonna bring back in the Poison Act 2. Act 1 doesn't have a lot of reverse stuff, but I think it perfectly fits with the whole narrative, and it's just an extremely fun and interesting way to experiment with sounds and create new stuff. So this is what you've heard, the original sound. Well, there's some reverb baked in. But then here's the not reversed sound. With it also has a bit of reverb baked in, but that's all. So let's just hear it out. It's just me playing my guitar. And I'm just repeating it. The interesting part about this is it's a voice memo. It's recorded on my phone. I think it works in its benefit, as in the sense it's not supposed to sound like a proper guitar recording. And then when you reverse it, it's really cool. And then it missed something. I also double tracked it with some very simple panning and just offsetting them slightly. But the delay, it does so much for it. So it just felt a bit too empty, and adding a lot of reverb to it made it more like a pad, but I wanted to sound quite dry and upfront. So the delay added that, and then I started experimenting with all the different knobs on the delay, and pitch shifting it up was kind of great. So that's what I did, and that's basically the main thing here. I also have this thing going on. This is a string patch. I rendered it out, but it's I think from Arc 1 crescendo that I rendered out. Yeah, from the low strings a glissandi, which is some sort of crescendo. And then I added a lot of reverb and distortion to it. So some decapitator with punish and black hole on holy settings. Which is really cool for kind of building up to this. And then let's go to the next section, which obviously starts with a reverse piano, which is very simple, and a little cymbal swell. I'm just gonna tell you that up front, and then I'm gonna show you it. That's the end of the track. I'm gonna go over how that transitions into the next track later. But for now, let's just go over this. Simple piano chords. It's all pretty hard quantized. I really like this. I'm not sure about this specifics here, but if you want to try out something similar, I played around with some different inversions when I was playing on the piano, and this felt really cool to me. Like if we put it up, it's like this. And then I made it a bit bigger there. And what I did with the strings was especially fun, because I used these ensemble strings here, which are quite low. And then I had a solo cello going on, but I first want to go to the basses because I think they are interesting. They add some more weight to this part. So it's all very rough sounding, which is exactly what I wanted to do. That's why I wanted to keep it very minimal and just keep... I also chose Pacific for that because they tend to sound a bit more rough. I also tried out Vista, which also sounds roughish, but this just felt a bit more appropriate. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what you use. I did add a layer of solo cello, but the melody is just violins and cellos in octaves. As you can see, it starts with the cello. And then the violin comes in. And this is the motif or melody, I would say it's more of melody, for What We Wish For. And I think it's so, I really liked how it turned out because it has this different rhythm going on where it's just going to triplets here. And then here again it's... And switching up the rhythm there, I personally really like. I think it's really fun. Then there's the boom here that I think adds quite a lot. I feel like this boom establishes some cinematic kind of feel and drama that's coming. The same at the end. And then we'll go over that once we have the What We Wish For video, how it transitions over. So that will be up later this week, if I'm right, because I'm recording these in advance. And then we have another Olaf Arnold cells thingy that's a bit more subtle here. And then here it's more obvious. Because here it's just low. In a way, mood-wise, this kind of reminded me of the Deathly Hallows by Alexander Desplat, the soundtrack. I felt like the mood was really interesting for that, with just the dark and emotional strings. And then here, it goes up more. You can really hear this evolve. It's just how the library works, kind of. So they really start singing and going up, and as a background layer to all the strings in the piano here, that adds a lot of lushness. As you can hear, the higher strings, especially here, it's really cool. That's a very magical feel, so I really like that. And yeah, that's kind of it. It's not a complex track, but it's a minimal track that does a lot of weird things, I think. Not like extremely weird, but fun weird. And then again, we have some signature sounds here as well, but they're the same as in the intro. They're really more in the background, as you can hear. Yeah, that's it. So for what we wished for, I will show you how the end of the intro kind of blends into what we wished for. I'm gonna keep that for the next breakdown. And for now, I'm wishing you a great day. This one is a bit shorter because the track is short. Still, I'm wishing you a great day. Bye.